John, I wanted to personally thank you for your service to Caroline County, and I know that you are definitely going to be sorely missed. But I do wish you the best at your new opportunity, and please don't forget about us and come back from time to time. That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right, Town of Bowling Green. Yes, Mr. Chairman, this will be short. As everybody knows, the Harvest Festival is an annual event in Bowling Green. It will be the third Saturday in October, which is the 16th this year, and everything is a go, and I believe there'll be a soft opening of the Caroline County Museum as well for everybody to take a look. They're working diligently right now to get that ready to open up. It won't be full up, but I think they want to give everybody an opportunity to take a look at what's going on in there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Mr. Seeley. All right, next we move on to item 4, reports on the Caroline County Department of Park and Recreation Summer Enhancement Program. And we have the Director of Parks and Recreation, Donnell Howard. Mr. Howard, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
How are you doing today?
Mr. Chairman, Board of Supervisors, how are you all today? Just to give you a brief update on what took place in the past summer and on the summer camp program, as we name it, Summer Exploration and Day Camp Program. It was we got off to somewhat of a bittersweet start, simply because there was only one of the 3 sites that, or the proposed sites that actually got off the ground. We didn't get the participation in the Bowling Green nor the Don area. However, that did not hinder us from being successful at producing the program over in the Ladysmith area. That program was held over at the Diversified Learning Center, and we had a total of about 51 children. And at that time, the numbers on average throughout the 7 weeks, we had an average of about 41 children that participated daily out of the 51, that was a positive thing for us. Also, too, we have strengthened the program by offering more opportunities for the children to go on field trips. In the past years, they've gone on an average of maybe 4 trips per site, but because our numbers were small, and also it was our desire to offer more trips for the children because that's what parents wanted, we increased it by 8 additional trips, so the children had 12 trips throughout the summer to go on. Those trips, some were in the county. There were some that we took them to Washington, D.C., to the Mystics game. We took them down to Richmond, in various places, and toured several places within the county. We were able to be successful at the program because of the partnership that we included into the program. We've had assistance from the Carolina Extension Office, the Fire and Rescue Department, Social Services, the Massaponax YMCA. They helped us out. We were able to take them swimming. There were numerous groups that we brought in, even the Quinn Rivers group. They came in and assisted on us meeting the curriculum that we had set up for the program. It was not just a recreation program, but it was a life skills program. And we provided weekly various description of our activities throughout the week. And our staff stuck with that curriculum throughout. So we were very pleased with what we did, and we look forward to hopefully having this program next year. And I would say the school system helped us really a lot too, because they provided transportation for us to be able to carry the children back and forth on the trip. So that was great. So.
Any questions for Mr. Howard?
Yeah, Mr. Howard. Yes. We got a plan not too long ago from you and your committee, and I take it we're going to be implementing even more of those ideas as we go along.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope that we can continue that program and certainly start implementing some of the private sectors as well as public sectors out here.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Howard.
You're welcome. I'd like to share this information just to put it out there. On October 9th, the Special Olympics will be coming back to the county as well. The soccer Special Olympics tournament, that will be on October the 9th. It will be held at the Rec Park as well. So we look forward to that.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. And the date for the boater safety course, is that recreation or fire rescue related?
The hunter safety course?
Yep. Not the hunter safety course, but the boating safety course?
That's not recreation.
What was the date on that, Chief? October 9th as well? Here at the community center. Make sure we get that on all the calendars and webpage.
Mr. Howard,
Question for you, Mr. Howard.
is that the normal Special Olympic soccer event?
That's correct. Yeah, we've had that for about 6 years now in a row.
Okay, I mean, I go, I just thought it was earlier in the year, but okay.
No, it's normally this time of year.
All right, and if you'll let those folks know, we're going to try to do a little better. I'm going to try to do a little better taking pictures of the players and printing the pictures out there. So I think that was something nice that we just give to them.
Okay, I'll definitely do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All
October
right.
9th.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. All right, next we had the continued discussion for the replacement of exterior doors at Caroline High School. Yes, Dr. Kilo, good evening, sir.
Good evening. I appreciated our meeting on Friday and all the discussions that we had, and follow up for it. Today I have for you a breakdown of how much money's left, and then I'll be able to go through that and then be able to tell you our needs.
Okay.
The money that we began with when we came to the June 8th Board of Supervisors meeting was $868,629.64. During that time, we had to remove $12,000. We had bills outstanding for $12,100, the hookup fee at $56,800, and the feasibility study at $49,000. The $28,665.36 is the amount that Mr. Akers had approved to be able to do the high school projects, because at that meeting we shared with you the quotes came in over $200,000. He had shared, and I appreciate you doing that, Mr. Akers, he had shared that he had talked to the sheriff and we needed to put in the same buzzing system and camera system at the high school. And at that meeting, a $779,495 motion was made and approved that night. You see following that is a breakdown of how that $779,495 was spent, and this was all that we know that was left. $125,000 for the annex, $35,800 has been spent, but we are going to be coming to you tonight and talking to you about the HVAC system there. That remaining $89,200 is to help pay for that replacement of the heat pumps or the air conditioning HVAC system at the annex. Bowling Green Elementary School was $44,000. It came in at $36,900, and there was a balance of $7,000 or $8,000. Bowling Green Primary, $32,000, came in at $28,600, $3,000. Madison Elementary School was $480. It was $502. That one was $22,000 over, but I need to clarify that because the money that was saved at Bowling Green Elementary, the primary, the middle school, and the high school, actually since A.D. Whitaker did all the work, they just charged one chunk of that money to Madison, even though it was done at all 5 schools. They hired a contractor to come in and do wiring and everything. Instead of that contractor breaking it out, since his main work was at Madison, he just charged it to Madison, but the work was done at all the schools, okay? So there really wasn't an overage like that. It may have been a very little, if any, there, and the other numbers would have dropped because they were picked up in that situation. Caroline Middle School was $29,020, as you see, and it was $25,100, $3,900 savings. The high school was $28,000, $22,300, which left $6,000. The architectural fees were $29,000. We were charged $23,800. And the contingency money was all saved. That left us a cost of $675,000, $322,005, leaving us $104,172.05. We are requesting two things tonight, if you don't mind. One is, if in order to complete 4 units at the annex, we teach classroom, the 4 front classrooms are used by the governor's school students. With the money that's left, the 104 or even the 89,200, we could only do 3 of those units. These are specialized units that can be expanded later and do more area in classroom. They're actually 8-ton units, and they're specialty units that was recommended for the design and fit of that school. Actually, if we did 5 units, it would cost us $124,000. The reason I'm bringing that up is the bottom units should be able to do the upstairs units also, the rooms right above them. But on the back side, we actually have our special ed and our federal programs. Federal programs HVAC unit's been out for about 5 years. Dr. Broadus can even attest to that, and she's here. So if we had an additional 20,000 combined with 104, we'd be able to do all of them. And then George went ahead and got a price of just to do everything in there, except for the very back part of that building, which is, you know, there's a lot of concern and issue with. But to get the gym done, the auditorium, the art classroom and everything, George said that he got a quote, which was an excellent quote because it did, I think, 16 classrooms total, or 14 or 16, don't hold me to the number, but it was $300,000. But I brought to you tonight those numbers to be able to be considered. And then also the door replacement is $105,000 for the door replacement at the high school. If you chose to help us out with Bowling Green Elementary School Annex and just do the 4 units, the total need would be $109,000. The reason I did the breakdown before is we kept saying that there was leftover money. There was none. It's spent out as far as we can tell. The money that we were talking about that must be left over in the balances were monies that just haven't been spent at this moment. The total cost, if we put in the 5 units, was $125,812. That is a complete breakdown for you all.
Okay, so certainly one thing we do certainly have on the table tonight were the doors. And Fran, I guess you had a chance to look at these numbers to verify, you know, where you hadn't really seen them yet. Fran's our Director of Finance, and I'd like her to look at those numbers and see if we can verify them. But, you know, the situation with the doors, I think, you know, everybody up here agrees we need to go ahead and get the doors done. You know, that's when your building starts to fall apart, we got to fix them. You know, that's just all there is to it. There's no other options on that. Because if we don't fix them, nobody else fixes them. So we got to fix the doors. And so we definitely need to deal with that. There's no sense in lingering that on. And we got the other 2 items here that come up in the air conditioning and the
both of them are HVAC, Mr. Roselle, and I brought those up because we did have some discussion at the last meeting about those,
right.
Trying to figure out what monies were left. I think there was a question, I do not remember who asked it, about the how many HVAC units and when all that was going to get done, and I shared some issues. So that's the other reason I just brought that forward tonight, because I thought it would be just throw it out here and so you knew everything that our needs, because when we went through the numbers and I looked at everything that we had gotten from Fran and sat there and went through and worked with our staff, got with George, we looked at what some things that are going to have to be moved around. This is what the monies that were left over. Unless there was another pot out of that, you know, we thought we had the 868, but when you include the feasibility study, the hookup fee, and the Madison Plumbing, which was an emergency situation, if those all came out of that 868, we spent the money down.
Okay, other questions, board members?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Popovich, you have a question?
No, sir, I don't have any questions.
I do have a, not necessarily a question, but a request. Probably about 4 years ago, and I realize, Dr. Pillow, you were not here, and I realize, Mr. Wright, you were not on the school board when that happened. But the school board brought to this board what we were told, these are the needs that we have for the schools in the near future. And so we went out and we borrowed almost $7 million in order to do those repairs to bring the schools up. We hear about the doors last week, and Mr. Popowitz says that the doors have been popping over since he was in school, and that's been quite a while ago. It's been quite a while ago. And so what I'm asking is the fact that let us make sure that when we come and request, I noticed that you sent us a request, a CIP request for the next 5 years. Let's just make sure that we're taking care of the critical things. That doors popping open is critical. If you cannot lock the doors from people outside, that's a critical issue. We need to make sure that's corrected, and we should have made sure that was corrected 4 years ago. It should not have to wait 4 years later before we now try to correct it. And all I'm asking is the fact that we do make sure that all of those needs are listed, so when we go to get the money to do these repairs and do these renovations, we have enough to take care of the critical needs, the things that absolutely need to be taken care of. And my question really is, the 104 that you're showing as a balance, you're saying that is really not a balance? Or are you saying that is a balance that can be applied to your request here? Or is that in addition to this 109,000 or the 220,000?
That 104, if we could, we would like to use for the HVAC units at the annex. Really, $89,200 was designated for those doors. The top line, that's
HVAC.
the HVAC. I'm sorry, doors. Thank you. HVAC. The $89,200 was designated. The rest of the savings we would like to do, because we really need to do all the classrooms at the governor's school, that front area. And so in order to do that, we needed $108,000.
And you have $89,000 to apply to the 108?
Well, we actually could use this 104 to apply to that 108 if you all would move that way. And then we'd need an additional 4,000. I don't know where the issue is. I think that's supposed to be 3,000, but I need to do the math. George and them went through this, but it's 4,527.05. There's a little error right there I can see, but we're right in the ballpark of that. There may have been something that I've left off of that.
So how much money are you asking the board to allocate to the school board in order to take care of the doors and to take care of, if 5 units is needed, why not do the 5 units instead of coming back in another year and saying we need a extra unit? So we do the 5 units and the doors. How much money are you asking for to complete those projects?
This is what, and I'm going to give you, I appreciate everything you shared, and I'm going to give you this. The answer is $125,000 to do the 5 units. We need $125,812 additional money over the 104th, over the 104,000 that is left. That would do the doors and the 5 HVAC. I want to just throw one thing out, and I'm just did this today. George and I were talking, and the guy that it's Colonial Webb, I believe, that does the HVAC units, said that they would give us a really special deal if we did the whole school, because it was cheaper to do it all in there, and pretty much all the units are down. What we're using in the upstairs classrooms is plug-in heaters, and we're using air conditioners that are, the ones that stand on the floor and blow, or units in the windows. He came and gave us a price to do 14 units or 14 rooms, and that would serve 7 on the first floor, 7 on the second floor. It would complete the project. He threw out, and we just got this today, $300,000. That's what he said. And that finishes, that doesn't do the back end of the building, but it does do everything from what Mr. Gagnon was sharing with me. That'll do all the way down through the auditorium. They have an art classroom that meets in there, and they have a PE classroom that meets in there. And that does the front of that building. It doesn't do the back part, which there's some structural issues with. And we may have to one day eventually decide what we're going to do with the back of the building.
So if we go with the $300,000, if you go with the $200,000 estimate, you won't need this $108,000, $125,000, or is this in addition to this amount?
That would be, we'd need the 196,000. This is just quick math. 196,000 to do that, and 105 to do the doors. So that'd be 301,000 bucks.
That would be for the doors and to complete the air conditioning for and would that basically put that building, because I don't see on your capital improvement
we do in the
list, I don't see anything here for.
There is for the annex. That's like the fourth or fifth. If you have a copy of this one that we gave to Max.
What year is that?
It's the Bowling Green Elementary for CDLC and Governor's School.
Year 12-13?
3, yeah. And then we'd have to look at the year. I'm sorry, Mr.
12-13?
12-13, yes, sir. But that is a complete renovation. That's removing and asbestos, tile, saving the front of the building, and maybe demoing the back of that building. Because the back of the building, the engineers that came through, we had 2 different engineers come through and said that actually the gym is not structurally sound, but the whole front of that building is, and back where the ag shop was, some of that is not in the best of condition, and they recommended that part be demoed or taken down and just save the front, because the front is in very good condition.
Would we be wasting, so you're saying we would not waste the $300,000 that we invest in air conditioning?
That's correct.
Even if we went to the $3 million renovation project?
Well, you probably reduce that $3 million renovation, because what you would have done, unless costs go up, of course, but you won't have to redo the HVAC. This should do what is in that building and should last for 15 years.
Okay. I'm not sure that we shouldn't go ahead through that process and look at doing something like that and put that building in a position where we don't have to worry about it until we talk about full renovations in 2013. And I guess we need to know where the funding is going to come from for that. And you're saying you need an additional $301,000 approximately to take care of the doors, and there's no question about the doors, that's got to be done.
Right.
And the air conditioning, $301,000. We could probably take money, Mr. Ashcraft, Emerson, from the proper fund to pay for that. I mean, it is capital project, it's not operating, so we could take $300,000 from the proper fund to pay for those renovations.
It should be 300,000.
What school is it? Or any school?
Bowling Green, it's the annex school.
This is, yeah.
It's Governor's School. So,
That's not in the area of the proffers, though.
but it
Well-
does do kids from Ladysmith.
And
Well, I think we'd have to look at that a little closer. I mean, the proffer funds are for improvements in the areas where
That's
the
affected. That-
developments were created,
that's right.
and to move it over there. I mean, not that I don't want to do it.
I think the attorney can give us an opinion on as to whether something can be done, for the fact that we do have students from the Ladysmith area and the Carmel Church area, and that's where the proffers, most of the proffers have been generated from. Some have been from Bowling Green. That would benefit those kids.
All right, well, we definitely got, how soon do you need to act on the last part? We know we got the doors, you can go ahead and
Well,
do
both
part
of
y'all
them,
HVAC.
both of them are pending right now. We actually have a contract on the table to do 3 of the HVAC units with Colonial Web right now. The doors, that's just trying to get that done as quick as we can get it done. But we were hoping, Colonial Web just said, if you'll have us come all the way in, we'll just do it for this price. And so that was just thrown on our table today. That had not been thrown out there prior to this point.
Dr. Kilo, will you still do you still need those 3 or 4 units on the roof if you go the other route with the HVAC?
Which units you talking?
The 4 that we're talking about that are here on our list tonight. Would this get rid of these completely?
On this list?
On the one you handed out?
Yes, that would take, that includes those.
So you still need these no matter what?
Yes, yes, sir. Those are incorporated in that $300,000 price, but you can use and apply the $104,000 to that $300,000, which drops us to, you know, I guess about $196,000 or a little less and change, and then you put back $105,000 for the doors. Basically, this $104,000 covers the doors completely for the high school. The annex, which we need to do because we have students in there, and those units aren't going to make it, and they won't heat. So we will make it air conditioning right now, but when heating time comes, and you know, I don't have the crystal ball. Mr. Roselle said he did, but we don't know when it's going to get cold on us. So when we get there, we're going to be in trouble. Because we can keep putting Freon in them, but we can't make them burn the heat.
Right.
Dr. Kilo, I just wanted to make sure it's probably in our best interest to do the 5 units as far as HVAC versus 4, because we do some now and then they have to come back out. It's only logical it's going to cost more when they come back out again. So, I mean, I'm all for doing those and the doors, like we said before. Mr. Rose, so that's, I mean, where I stand. Mr. Roselle said he thought there was some funding mechanism that we could work it out. So that's kind of where we are. We'll go ahead.
Right now, the 5 only covers part of the building. It doesn't complete it. To do the complete building, I think it's 7 or 14 units. I forget what the exact number is.
And that's with the other 100,000 that we talked about.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's move on past this. I think we can get through it and get what you guys need. Yeah, we got some reconciling to do. Because Fran just got these numbers, and you know, she'll have a chance to look at those. But you know, these types of things, that's what we have to do. You know, we just can't, you know, let these schools you know, run down and not have the basic necessities. So we'll make sure we get those things done. We need a motion so these guys can go ahead and get started on these projects.
Mr. Chairman, I still believe we need to go ahead and do the 14 units, which is going to be the $300,000. 125 is going to do 5 units.
Total cost.
The total cost, $301,000.
Right.
And that's my motion, Mr. Chairman, if that's what you're talking about.
All right, County Administrator wants a dollar amount in the project.
On each one?
No, so just specifically, you're appropriating $301,000, and specifically for what projects are you appropriating that for? Just so it'll be in the minutes, and we can reflect back if there's ever.
It's for the door replacement at Caroline High School, and it's for the total heating and air conditioning project at the Bowling Green Annex building.
And that would include our $104,000 that's still left over.
Right. We're going to appropriate you. You basically need $405,000.
Yes, sir.
We're appropriating $301.
Okay?
Second.
All right, then. Mr. Wright is saying something.
It should be $304,827.05, I think.
304,000?
Yes. You do the math.
I'll amend my motion to $304,000. What'd you say, $475.75?
$827.05.
Whatever that number is.
827.05.
304, 827.05.
I'll amend my second.
So,
All right, so a motion made and proper second.
just gonna have discussion, just to clarify.
Absolutely, Mr. Vice Chairman.
Okay, so I just want to make sure I have the whole thing straight. You're going to get $105,000 for the doors, and you already have $104,000 remaining. So basically, that's a wash. and you're getting 300,000